Hey guys, I've been rereading Arkham Asylum. Probably do a review on this. This book came out in 1989, 1990. It's really big influence on me. It kind of opened my eyes to a lot of different things. Aside of that, there was a Steam sale, and they actually patched out Games for Windows Live from Batman Arkham City and Arkham Asylum. So I got to replay those and really took great amount of consideration towards how good these games are and how solid they are even 4 years later. And these games probably will stand the test of time, not even just the trend that it is. So it kind of pains me to talk about Batman Arkham Origins. I've been playing about a good maybe 40 hours, so I have a comprehensive, at least I know what I want to talk about here. I've been having a little bit of a writer's block, so I'm kind of going off and on. But without further ado, let me just say that really getting into it, it's got an excellent story. Like, seriously, it is a really great story that you need to watch. You need to see the story, even if it's just through cinematics. It's really excellent. They've got, it's really a Joker and Batman story. Joker's a really big player, as much as like a lot of the videos out there have led you to believe. He's more important than all the other characters that they've been showing off, and they've done a really good job just at least making a Batman that can play, that is his other half of the Joker's anarchy and his insanity. I mean, we could nitpick here and there, but it's a really good Batman. It's more of a comic book Batman. Troy Baker's Joker is phenomenal. Like, this is, without a doubt, an amazing original Batman. It's on par with Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger. Just like someone that just really exciting to see. And just like, you don't know where the story's going to go with him. He's quoting a lot of Alan Moore and Paul Dini. Paul Dini's Mad Love, to be specific. And it's original, and it's exciting, and you really want to see where he goes with on the next story. There are outside of that, there are some really great set pieces. Just like the Deathstroke fight is wonderful. Copperhead is just amazing. Firefly is really great, and Bane actually has a really great fight that's really innovative. The sad part is you have to fight him like 4 or 5 times, which gets really bothersome. But don't expect, it's kind of like really worth fighting through, tolerating a lot of the problems, because this game's glitchy. It is buggy, it's broken, it doesn't respond well. It's really bad, because it makes the world unenjoyable. It makes just the game unenjoyable. The fighting mechanics are broken, and they're kind of there, but they're just broken, and they're not really that worth going into really deep into it. Unlike the previous games, which had like a depth and a complexity that you could button mash if you wanted to, but that's not really the point. It gets you to where you want to go. So, this one, they add something that makes it even more button mashier, which is the intention of this version. Not so much the ability to assess the battlefield. And plus, on top of that, the glitches really make it bad. I mean, there is a new rhythm, which you could kind of learn, and you might get something out of it, but at the end, you have this more chaotic Batman that's a little bit more sloppier. And that could be the origin, even though Batman now has pretty much off the bat every single weapon from Arkham City. Just when you start the game, he almost has the majority of the weapons from Arkham City. It's kind of weird how they gate things and how they prevent you from doing other things. Outside from that, the graphics are beautiful. They're really, really nice on close-up. They're really, really detailed. The DirectX 11 stuff, just seriously, I hope this game goes up on PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, because there's some details on the faces and on the skin and on the textures that you're gonna miss on current consoles. But it's really, really sharp and really, really detailed. But on a distance, it's constantly snowing, and everything is gray and ashy. And I was just replaying Arkham Asylum, and it's so colorful. There's an excellent sense of like shape and form with it, even though it's got this kind of like grungy kind of look. But also that grungy look helps. Here, the people are more realistic, and because they're realistic, it's hard to tell them apart. You can't tell apart a guy with armor, or you can't tell apart a guy with a gun. It makes the combat difficult to work with. And then you have to go back into the X-ray vision, which defeats the purpose, and you don't get to look at how good this game looks, because it looks pretty good. It looks really, really good. On top of that, it's less fan servicey, unlike the previous games, because in the previous games they set up a simple mechanic for you to go backtracking into places. Here, there's none of that. You do backtrack places in Arkham City, so you do get that deja vu feel a lot, and they redid everything. But here it's more glitchier, and there's newer lighting and newer textures, but they're identical, and they lose that sense of the last game. And you never know if you're not going to be able to connect to something, so it just makes this world less appealing, even just on a superficial level. Like, even if you come in and you want to see like a poster from a previous character or something like that, and just be pandered with the fan service, there's none of it. There's maybe 2 or 3. There's like a bit where Alfred's talking about a man-bat, which is really, really funny. There's a Zatanna poster. There's a Flying Grayson poster, but that Flying Grayson poster is exactly the same one from Arkham City. It's kind of amazing, just, they probably redid it, they probably did something, but they didn't. It's such a disappointment. It's like, this is a new team, and they have this opportunity to try something new, and they're kind of trying to rehash the stuff that they did, that the other people did, and they're not doing as well. They do a better job in some of the set pieces. To be honest, this is my best compliment I'm going to give it. They do a pretty halfway decent job getting the combat and the stealth right, and the set pieces. A little bit of it right. The detective mode, which I didn't get to brush upon, but the detective mode is really exciting to play, and really exciting to experience. But it is... Give me a second. Okay. It is linear. It is really, really, really linear. And Arkham City was linear, but it had incentive. It was, it's a Metroidvania, Arkham City and Arkham Asylum. They had something that pushed you. This game, you're in a room, and you can't tell where to go. The room may have only one door, but you don't know where to go. The room may have, like, the door may be locked, and you have to figure out a way around, but you just can't figure it out, and you feel dumb. It just kind of perpetuates this kind of problem with it. And like I said, it's pretty good. I mean, if you want a little bit more combat, if you want a little bit more of this world, it's there. It's a new flavor, it's interesting, I'm gonna give this game like a C. I'm gonna kind of continue. I mean, I've beaten it, I've done a lot of post-game content, I've played multiplayer, which I'm gonna talk a little bit about, but like I was just saying, I give it a C. I give it a C with a little bit of a recommendation if you like the combat, if you like the world, if you like the stealth. It's buggy. It is buggy, unresponsive. Wait for a sale. Take your time. Maybe you'll kind of want to be really quick on the multiplayer. The multiplayer, I played a bit of it. It's interesting. It's handled by Splash Damage. They did Wolfenstein, Enemy Territories, Quake Wars, Enemy Territories, and Brink. It's an interesting three versus player game. 3 Banes, 3 Jokers, and Batman and Robin, which makes it interesting. The Bane and Jokers have to control points, and then they unlock a super character, which will take them all out. Batman and Robin kind of gain influence while still interacting with them, and this is the problem where it feels like Gears of War and Brink, but it doesn't control that well, and a little bit of the single player, so it's kind of Splinter Cell. It's not quite. It's solid, but it feels like Batman and Robin are just griefing them. They're just coming in and they're just bugging them, and they don't really have a sense that they're winning the match. And it's also got a terrible play-to-win mechanic in which you can just dump money into it. And it's not like Mass Effect 3, where they actually did something new and clever that you're just excited to try out. You know, it's like you're more excited to play this than you would be the actual single player. And you would maybe want to consider putting money to unlock a new character, maybe. But here it's nothing much. You still have Batman and Robin. You don't get, like, Alfred character or skin fight. Maybe you might. So there's a possibility that might be free. Alright, to sum it up, I want to talk about, I just want to talk about how it's not that bad. If you want a little bit more of the detective work is really good. The story's phenomenal. You have to see it for the story alone that I recommend. Although the story is about maybe 8 or 12 hours. That's about it, the single player. The continuing content is a little bit further down the line. I had a terrible bug that I finally bypassed. It took me almost like a day figuring that one out. Everyone talks about it, but I couldn't get it. And I finally got it. So, it's kind of unenjoyable in some parts. If you can tolerate it, it's pretty good. There's less fan service than Arkham City and Arkham Asylum. I still recommend Arkham City and Arkham Asylum because it's fair. And they're very, very cheap. And they have Game of the Year editions with beautiful extra content. So I recommend those over that. Although I would like to mention a little bit that Batman 66, I've been reading this, and what's interesting is that this was never out in 1966. This is not the Batman that was out at the time. At the time, it was Neil Adams. And what Neil Adams did was a little bit more serious of a Batman. It became that Batman that fights Ra's al Ghul. It became that Batman that every fanboy was like talking about. Adam West isn't Batman, but this is the real Batman that eventually put up to the Tim Burton Batman and the Adams animated series Batman. But I bring this up because this is the first time this comic book's been made, and we now have it, but we can live in a world where we can have 2 different types of Batman, and it'd be okay. So, with that, I kind of hope that these guys learn from these mistakes and just move on and kind of make a better game after this, or maybe a different game. It's kind of more of the same, and that's why people are bugging about that iterative aspect of this game. They don't bring anything new to the table. In fact, they kind of worsen it. What they do bring new is that they bring in a nice story that doesn't need any backtracking. One of my biggest, or any fan service, because that was one of the things about Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, because you couldn't understand Catwoman unless maybe you've read her comics. You couldn't understand this character because of the comics, or the animated series, which was kind of nice for all of us dorks that actually do consume all this stuff. So with that, I give the game a C. I think it's, or maybe a 6 or a 7. If you care about that stuff, I don't care. I give it a C. It's passable. It's a pretty good origin. It's not that bad. It's not the end of the world. I kind of tolerated a lot in order for me to enjoy it. And that's all I have to say to you. Outside of that, it's go get Arkham City or Arkham Asylum, you'll like that a lot better.